Hey fellow backyard warriors, Nick here. Today I'm going to be making a Japanese style folding knife called a Higo no Kami. And I'm going to be making it out of rebar. So this is going to be two parts to this. I'm going to be making the blade out of a piece of 3/8 inch rebar. I've already tested this and this water hardens really well. So this is going to become the blade. And then I've got a piece of 1/2 inch rebar, and this one, it will harden, but it's closer to mild steel. But we won't be hardening this rebar because this is going to be forged out and will become the handle of the knife. Now it's time to fire up the forge and let it come up to temperature. We're going to start by forging the blade. I'm going to start by flattening out about 4 inches to become the blade. So I'm pretty close. It's almost 1/8 of an inch. So now that we have our blade to thickness, I'm going to start working on the tang of the knife. 1/4 of an inch. And just start driving that material upwards. Squaring it up. So I ended up with a little more on this tab than I wanted, so I'm going to cut this section off and then we're going to flatten that out. So now that the tab is done, I'm going to cut it off about a 3.5 inch blade, and then we're going to forge out our edge bevel. I'm going to start refining the tip. Alright, here's the blade forged. You can see it's got a decent bevel to it. We're just going to clean it up on the grinder. So now I'm just going to grind this down to shape. Not a whole lot of shaping, just going to clean up this edge. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to line up my bevels, start grinding this in, and then we can switch over to the sanding wheel. I'm just going to start grinding this down to shape. And a magnet is a good thing to have when roughing in the bevels on such a small blade. Now that I've finished grinding my bevels, I'm going to use the flap sand wheel and finish this off. Alright, so now I'm going to work on the other side. Alright, so here's the blade after sanding. I'm going to keep it a little on the rough side, so it still has that rough forged look. I think it'll contrast nicely with the hamon I'm planning to put on this. It's looking good so far. Now I'm going to make the handle so we can figure out where we're going to drill this hole for our pivot pin.
Okay.
So now I've got a striker helping me today, and we're going to try and flatten this out, see how flat we can get this piece of rebar.
That's fine.
You're gonna be a power hammer today. I'm going to use my cross beam to make sure that the very center of the sheet is nice and thick. Now I'm going to fold this over. So now that it's folded over, I'm going to go ahead and cut this end off and the very end off. Then we'll start working on a handle. Alright, so now that I've cut it, I'm going to heat it up and we're going to finalize the shape. Alright, so now that everything's nice and forged out, I'm going to start grinding it to shape so it'll fit onto the blade.